Get ready to hear the truth about America on a show that's not immune to the facts with your host, Dan Bongino.
So, man, did yesterday's show cause a forest fire? Apparently, you're not allowed to mention certain names about who may be behind the money trail causing the leftist and financing the leftist chaos in the streets and their plans to cause chaos in your neighborhoods after the election if Joe Biden doesn't win. Well, as I told you yesterday, we don't really care about that. We talk about whatever we want to on this show. I've got that coming up. Matter of fact, we're going to double down, as we always do whenever it's suggested we don't talk about stuff. What do? We talk about it some more, and we add day two. I've got that. I've got a special guest I'm going to be interviewing tomorrow. Big wink and nod, and a huge announcement in the middle of the show today about my continued fight against the tech tyrants. Ladies and gentlemen, we are the leaders we've been waiting for. We have to do, not talk. I've had enough of YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and the rest of them, so I'm taking my fight to them. Do not miss that announcement in the middle of the show. Today's show brought to you by ExpressVPN. Protect that online activity you have. You know, you're online, right? Protect it. You don't want people watching that. Get a VPN today. Protect your online data from prying eyeballs. Go to expressvpn.com/Bongino and get a VPN today. Don't wait. Welcome to the Dan Bongino Show. Producer Joe, how are you today? Fine, sir.
I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm just waiting around for the big announcement, you know?
Yeah, I know. Well,
there
you
go.
already know the beginning. Get out of here. You think Joe doesn't know Joe knows everything. Well, the specifics of announcement number 2, he actually doesn't. He knows who the special guest is, though. That's definitely not a secret. All right, this is going to be a big show.
All right.
Because we are going to do what everybody tells us not to do, because that's what we do best. All right, today's show brought to you by our friends at Helix Sleep. I needed this last night. It was a super long day yesterday, planning a lot of things. My Helix Sleep mattress. Helix Sleep makes a personalized mattress right here in America, shipped straight to your door with free no-contact delivery, free returns, and a 100-night sleep trial. But it makes a mattress for you. What do you mean? They don't just make generic mattresses for everybody. Oh, yeah, this one, that one. No. You go in, you take a 2-minute sleep quiz. 2 minutes. 2-minute sleep quiz. It matches your body type and sleep preferences to the perfect mattress for you, not for Joey Bag of Donuts or someone else. If you like a mattress that's really soft, really firm, you like to sleep on your side like me, or your back, or your stomach, or you sleep hot, with Helix, there's a specific mattress for you. I took the quiz, matched me to a midnight luxe. It's like sleeping on a cloud. I love it. Best mattress I've ever slept on. I sleep on my side. I've got really bad arthritis in my shoulders, so I need something nice. Need to sleep on a cloud. I love Helix, but you don't need to take my word for it. It was awarded the #1 overall mattress pick of 2020 by GQ, Wired Magazine, Apartment Therapy. Just go to helixsleep.com/Dan. Take their 2-minute sleep quiz, and they'll match you to a customized mattress that will give you the best sleep of your life. Right now, Helix is offering an astonishing up to $200 off all mattress orders for our listeners. That's a lot. Go to helixsleep.com/Dan for up to $200 off your mattress order. Go today. Don't wait. helixsleep.com/Dan. All right, Joe, let's go. All right, folks, on a very serious note, I cannot warn you in strong enough terms based on the chaos being caused. I'm not trying to scare you, please. I get a lot of emails. You're scaring me. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to warn you. There's a difference. I live in the same country you do. When this stuff goes down, it's going to go down here too. Do you want to know or you don't want to know? Based on the listenership and viewership numbers of my show over the last few days, I'm guessing more of you want to know and be prepared. I've been talking about the street chaos they're planning after the election. I cannot encourage you in strong enough terms, ladies and gentlemen, if you have the financial capability and the mobility to get the hell out of these liberal cities and towns before it's too late. Not only are they planning for post-election chaos, God forbid Joe Biden wins this thing. Or I should say, in their eyes, God forbid Trump wins this thing. No matter what, you're going to see some post-election chaos. But if Trump wins, they are going to lose their minds. I keep stepping on that. I screwed up the whole intro to the show yesterday too. If Trump wins, it's going to be, remember that, Joe? It's going to be a total mess for them. They are planning chaos. But even worse, they don't want you to be able to defend yourselves. You may say, Dan, I've already heard this story with the McCloskeys. Remember them in St. Louis? Remember the insane district attorney out there who prosecuted the McCloskey family in St. Louis when the rioters broke down the gate to their private street and were threatening them, and they came out of their house. God forbid they had a firearm to protect themselves. The McCloskeys got arrested. Ladies and gentlemen, we've seen another one of these incidents. So now they're planning the street chaos, and they want to make sure if you dare defend yourself, you're the one. You're the one that goes to jail. I'm not saying that wrong. Like I always screw up the Trump-Biden thing after the election. That I'm saying absolutely right. They want you to go to jail. Don't believe me? Move out of these places. Stat. I'm not kidding. Article by the Post Millennial. Be in the show notes. Read this one. Spread this around. Watch. Milwaukee man mobbed by BLM activists arrested for trying to defend his home. Libby Emmons, the Post Millennial. Wait. Did I read that backwards? Am I reading that wrong? Does that say BLM rioters outside man's house threatening to attack him arrested? No. The man was arrested for trying to defend his home. Don't know this guy. I've never met him in my life. I don't know about his Facebook history, his Twitter history. I don't know any of that. I'm simply suggesting to you, they showed up at this guy's house, flashing lights in his house in the dark, probably scaring the hell out of him and his family. The guy shows, he comes to the window, has a shotgun, doesn't know what happened. There's a brief portion of the video from this guy, Von Mays' Facebook page, who was there doing a lot of this, involved in a lot of this stuff. There he is, the man. You can see it on our, on the video version of our show on YouTube, youtube.com/Bongino. Announcement on that later. But you can see the man with the shotgun right there. Thank you, Paul Plain. And the guy gets arrested. Now, what else is there in front of his house there? What do I see? They're actually shining a light on it. Oh, there's a Trump sign outside the man's house. Joe, entirely a coincidence, I'm sure. BLM activists show up outside this guy's house who has a Trump sign. All of a sudden, they're shining lights, making noise, threatening him outside his house. The guy inside his house, he doesn't even leave the house like the McCloskeys did, which I don't blame them for at all. By the way, he doesn't even leave his house. He has a shotgun inside his house in Milwaukee, and he gets arrested. I am being deadly serious here. Encourage you in strong enough terms to get the hell out of these places as soon as possible. You're not safe there. You know, I get it. The lunatic liberals say, it's a conspiracy. I get it. It's all a conspiracy. It's not. BLM activists can show up at your house, shine lights in your window, trespass on your property, break down a private gate to your street. And if you live in one of these liberal enclaves dominated by leftists, leftist district attorneys, leftist police chiefs, and others, you're going to get arrested and you think you're safe there. It's a conspiracy theory. You sure about that? You want to take that chance. Get out of these places as soon as possible. Move to a place where law and order matters, where you have constitutional sheriffs who understand and respect civil liberties and civil rights, where you have district attorneys that, shocker, Joe, prosecute crimes and don't prosecute the people defending their homes. You may want to get out of places that don't see it that way. You've been warned multiple times on this show. Well, my only request is I live in the sane state of Florida. Please don't move here and vote for the very same lunatics that destroyed the place you left. Just asking. Just throwing that out there for you. You are not safe there. You are not safe. You get arrested for possessing a firearm in your own house to defend your own property from people attacking your property or trespassing on your property. What is this? What is this? Who's behind all this? Who's behind a lot of these left-wing agitators? We covered a lot of this yesterday. We covered the money trail and the affiliation trail, people affiliated with left-wing groups who are paying for a lot of these agitators to do this, to scare you, to show up at your house, frighten you, your kids, trespass on your property, threaten you, threaten to rape my wife like they did after we walked out of the White House acceptance speech for President Trump, where we walked into a crowd of BLM, raging, savage lunatics. Yeah, that's what they were. I was there, so please spare your lectures. I actually saw it. But they were protesting. Really? Was that between the rape threats? I don't remember that one. Thank God my wife recorded it. You guys got to see it on the show. She recorded their actual lunatic behavior. So now you can see what we saw. You saw a minute of what was a 20-minute threat fest for them. Where's yesterday's show we covered on the Follow the Money show yesterday? Who was behind the activists? I want to cover today. Hat tip Robbie Starbuck, by the way, on Twitter, where I found a lot of these headlines from there. Today I want to cover who's funding these district attorney races, where these district attorneys are deciding to prosecute people defending themselves rather than the rioters showing up at their homes. You'll be stunned, Joe, to find out again. We're not allowed to mention this, right? Sure. You get that one. Wrong finger for a reason. So who's funding these district attorneys prosecuting you all for daring to defend your home? God forbid. Oh, you'd be stunned. George Soros makes an appearance again. We're not allowed to say that on this show.
Oh, man.
Sure. I'm sure we'll be sanctioned. Right. Of course, we don't care. We talk about whatever we want on this show. You may say, again, if you're a liberal lunatic, that's a conspiracy theory. Really? Is it? It is. It's a conspiracy theory that George Soros, the left-wing agitator himself, who funds a lot of the groups that fund a lot of these people showing up at your house and threatening you and all that other stuff. Would you be surprised to know that he's also funding district attorney races so that those district attorneys then prosecute you after you defend yourself against the agitators some of his groups are associated with? Would you be surprised? The answer is, of course you wouldn't. So you may say, well, Dan, do you have evidence? Of course we've got evidence. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
If you're into that evidence kind of thing. So liberals, you can tune out now. I know facts and stuff. I know that bothers you. But this is why the left does not want you talking about George Soros. Because of headlines like this in the Inquirer. Not the National Enquirer, the Inquirer with an I. The Philadelphia Inquirer, Chris Brennan. Joe, definitely a conspiracy theorist here. Keep your eyes up on Bongino.com. This is the Philadelphia Inquirer. Let's read this headline. He helped Krasner become Philly's district attorney. Now billionaire George Soros is back in Pennsylvania with $1 million. This time to get a Delco Democrat elected. It's a conspiracy theory. It is. Notice the left won't cover this show today. They won't. They cover everyone else's show when they don't get specific. Here's their tactic, by the way. Believe me, I've been in this media business a long. I'm only 45. It's been almost 10 years now. So a little bit less than a quarter of my life, I've been in this media business. These leftist lunatic media slobs, I've got their MO down 100%. They will write articles about shows, if you know what I mean, where Soros's name is brought up. If you don't bring up any evidence, they'll bring it up and then they'll say, that's definitely anti-Semitic, talking about George Soros's money, as if it has anything to do with his religion at all. They'll do that when you don't bring up evidence. Why? Joe knows the stunt too. Because they know they can embed the clip, and if you don't put the evidence, they know you won't see it, so they can accuse you of whatever they want. You're being a conspiracy theorist. You don't like George Soros because he's Jewish. Huh? It's hilarious in its stupidity. The anti-Semitic left accusing us of anti-Semitism. Remember, they always accuse you of what they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right? They won't cover this segment because we're putting up the actual headlines. And what they're afraid of is if they write an article about Dan Bongino promoting Soros conspiracy theories, they're terrified you'll actually go look up these articles and be like, well, that doesn't sound like a conspiracy theory. The Philadelphia Inquirer story. You may say, Dan, that's some thin water to go through right there. You got more? Of course I've got more. Of course. Let's go to the Wall Street Journal. Noted conspiracy theorist, Joe. Noted, because of course I'm being sarcastic here. Billionaire Soros funds local prosecutor races by Zusha Ellenson and Joe Palazzo. Forgive me, Joe. Sorry. I'm going to end that there, even though I'm Italian. I don't want to mess up your name even worse. From a guy who gets called Bongino all the time. I know how it is. Soros is helping transform sleepy contests for district attorney with some candidates promising a fairer justice system. Definitely a conspiracy theory.
Man, come
George Soros. Joe, I mean, I know where this is. We have a tinfoil cap. We put it on right now. This is just nutty. This is Looney Tunes time. There's a screenshot, by the way, from that Wall Street Journal piece, noted conspiracy theory site. The PAC spending, which ranged from $100,000 to more than $1 million per candidate, injected, quote, staggering sums of money into races that rarely exceed 5 figures, said Joshua Markey, the district attorney of Clatsop County, Oregon, since 1994, and a representative of the National District Attorneys Association. Gosh, that George Soros is spending a lot of money on a conspiracy theory. Again, with the left won't cover this segment. They'll never. Because they're terrified you'll go look that up and say, gosh, Bongino's telling the truth. George Soros seems to have a real interest in district attorneys who won't enforce crime so that the same district attorneys and others will go out and lock you up like the one in St. Louis with the McCloskeys if you dare to defend yourself. Why? Because they want you defenseless with their riot they're planning after the election if in their eyes, God forbid, Trump wins. There you go. Finally got that right. They don't dare want you to fight back because they're afraid of you. Power to the people and that kind of stuff. They don't want any of that. They want you weak, on your knees, genuflecting. You may say, wow, okay, Dan, so you got 2 pretty stunning examples there of Soros funding a bunch of district attorneys' races where they will be sure to prosecute you for defending yourself, district attorneys. That's got to be it. No, of course that's not it, folks. Of course not. Let's go to San Diego. We've been to Oregon. We've been to St. Louis. We're making rounds all around the country here. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, San Diego Union Tribune. Joe, noted conspiracy theory site. Mm-hmm. Dripping with sarcasm, of course. San Diego Union Tribune by Greg Moran. Billionaire Soros drops $1.5 million into a PAC supporting DA candidate Jones Wright. Oh, man. Just weird, isn't it? Can't talk about George Soros. No, thanks. We'll talk about what we want, but thank you. Weird how Soros's money keeps going into these district attorney races. District attorneys not prosecuting crime anywhere, but prosecuting you when the criminals come for you. And yet nobody seems to care. Strange. Let's go to one more because I could beat you up with this all day. Let's go to one Chicago Sun-Tribune here. This is fascinating. Another billionaire weighs in on state's attorney's race. George Soros gives $2 million to a group backing Kim Foxx. Remember Kim Foxx, another leftist lunatic district attorney? Soros, worth an estimated $8 billion according to Forbes, is not the first billionaire to lay down money in the race. Conway's campaign coffers have been bolstered by donations from his dad. It's a conspiracy theory, right, folks? We're all crazy. We're all nuts. It's anti-Semitic somehow to bring up George Soros, leftist billionaire's role in funding a bunch of local district attorney. What does he care about that for? Because of why I opened up the show. They want to make sure these district attorneys prosecute you. God forbid you defend yourself against the mob. No, it's clearly all by accident. Is it? You sure about that? You willing to take that chance? Get the hell out of these places as soon as possible. You are not safe there. They are funding chaos right here at home in the greatest country on earth. They are trying to collapse it from the inside. You call it whatever you like. The left will never cover this because they don't want you to look up the noted conspiracy site, the Chicago Sun-Tribune. We're not allowed to cover that? Big mistake. Please continue to write about this. I will talk about it every day. I don't care if we hemorrhage 100% of our audience. The more you tell me not to talk about this, I will bring it every single day as a special segment. I'll call it the Soros Hour. It will rename the show for the whole week. Talk about whatever the hell I want. All right, because I don't like to leave you with some bad news all the time. I always want to give you options because there are options, and we are going to fix this, and we are going to fight back. There are things being done. I'll get to this story about what Andy Biggs, a really good Republican congressman, is doing now, which has people really freaked out because we can fight back. And I want to talk about what their real goal is. Before I get to that, I got my second sponsor today, our friends at Job Creators Network. Ladies and gentlemen, we all know this is the most important election of our lifetime. We know that. What's on the ballot? Safety's on the ballot. We just talked about that. Security's on the ballot. Our national identity's on the ballot. Our history's on the ballot. Radicals are pushing and crushing law enforcement while getting you locked up. They're doing nothing to deter this looting and violence. Our safety is on the ballot, our entire way of life. I am urging you, I am begging you, I am imploring you to join an effort sponsored by Job Creators Network. They're our friends. They're working with the biggest conservative hosts in America. Hannity, Elder, Prager, Gorka, Gallagher, Hewitt, me, Shapiro, Sarah Carter, and others, because this election's about one thing and only one thing: turnout. You don't turn out and vote, your voice is irrelevant. I'm sorry, but it is. You're not counted, you don't matter. The left has a get out the vote machine they're working on right now. Now we have ours. The single most important thing you can do to save our country is to go today to keepamericaamerica.com and become a volunteer in the biggest, most significant get out the vote effort in conservative history. You'll be given tasks that can make a difference in November. You want to do a little, you can do a little. You want to do a lot, you can do a lot, but please do something and do your part. Go to keepamericaamerica.com now. That's keepamericaamerica.com now. And please help get out the vote. Sponsored by our friends at Job Creators Network, keepamericaamerica.com. All right, so I want to provide you solutions and things that are happening on a positive note because I don't want you depressed. Listen, we've always had a fight. This country's got its scars, its battle scars, and don't expect us to get a pass either. We're not going to sit around eating Eskimo pies and Klondike bars and watching our flat screen TVs and, plumping up. We got to get out there and get busy and actually do stuff. Someone is doing something. Check out this article by Fox News, foxnews.com. Andy Biggs, good man. I know Andy pretty well. Solid Republican congressman. Good. Finally, someone with some cojones. Representative Andy Biggs to hold special order on House floor to find out who's been funding these recent riots by our friend Nick Givas at Fox News.
All right.
As I've told you, folks, whenever you get depressed and you think they're all bad up there, they're not. We have some decent people. They make mistakes. Even the decent ones screw up sometimes. Biggs a good guy. Biggs is asking a question we've been asking all week on this show, Joe. Who's paying for all this stuff? These rioters, Joe, they magically just show up with out-of-town licenses. How are they getting there? Joe, you and I have traveled. We traveled to CPAC.
Yeah.
I have to coordinate that with you, right? Matter of fact, here's the funny thing. Joe lives in Maryland. Yet Joe, who I work with, he has expenses. We have to work it out. Joe, here's how you're going to get to the hotel. Here's what time I'll meet you. Logistics, money, this stuff. How is this happening with the left? They just magically show up. Hundreds of them outside of President Trump's nominating speech outside the White House threatening to rape my wife. Yes, I was there. I saw it. Where'd they all come from? Well, as I told you on yesterday's show, and I'll repeat again today, Department of Homeland Security has volumes of evidence, which we've seen now in disclosed emails, that these people are organized and are being transported into very specific locations to cause chaos and burn your cities down. Andy Biggs is like, I'd like to see that money trail. Me too. I would love to see that. Where are the other members, by the way? There are more. It's not just Biggs working on this, but where is I know Jim Jordan's concerned about this and others, but where are the other members? Why isn't the Republican caucus in unison right now, right, Joe? Senate, Republican side on the House. Why are they not in unison saying, we demand to find out who is financing this criminal activity? Not the protest. The government has absolutely no right whatsoever to intervene in peaceable protesting. None. I don't care what your protest. If it's done legally, peacefully, you're not threatening everyone. It does not matter my political beliefs or yours. You have the right, big R, God-given right to do that. Period. Full stop, done. That's not what this is. This is organized insurrection and a planned coup. That's not what this is. You're burning down courthouses, attacking people, innocent people, threatening them on a public street. That's not what this is. It's not protesting. This is hardcore criminality. Being funded by liberal mega donors. It's not just Soros, by the way. I single him out, Soros, because his paper trail is everywhere, as reported by noted conspiracy theorist sites, the Philadelphia Inquirer, Wall Street Journal, San Diego Tribune, and Chicago Sun Tribune, or Chicago Sun Times, whatever the heck it is. Of course, I'm joking. Those are considered left-wing mainstream papers reporting on the Soros conspiracy theory, air quotes. So now I told you what we can do. We can start pushing our congressional representatives, which you should do today, by the way. Email them and say, what are you doing to figure out who's funding this stuff? Watch a lot of them back off, by the way, because they're total chumps, a lot of them. Not all of them, but most of them be, we don't want to get into that. Of course you don't. Doing your job and stuff. I know that's hard. But with Soros and these groups, there are others out there. What's their real goal? And what if I told you that some of these groups have some backdoor ties to foreign governments that are trying to eat this country alive from the inside out? No way. That sounds like what they said about Trump. Collusion. Remember that one? Yeah, the collusion that didn't exist. Remember with the left, they always accuse you of doing what they're doing themselves. Remember rule number 2 of the conspiracy? What's rule number 1? If you're going to plan a coup in a conspiracy, never talk about the conspiracy. What's rule number 2? When your conspiracy is discovered, which it has been on my show for the last 2 weeks, blame it on your opponent. Collusion. Trump's colluding with a foreign government. I'm going to present to you some evidence that a lot of these BLM protesters and others that are showing up have some really suspicious ties to foreign governments and foreign enterprises that don't have our best interests in mind. But shockingly, this has managed to stay out of the mainstream media. Really weird how that keeps happening, huh? Well, what's their real goal? Their real goal, these BLM and Antifa organized terrorists, is to destroy freedom and liberty and to destroy capitalism, because capitalism is the economic system that bedrocks freedom and liberty. And just so I don't leave you with the good, solid ideological underpinnings to go forward, when we're talking about capitalism, we're talking about very specific things. I would argue that it's not really an ism at all, that it's really a set of 3 principles. Private property. You like owning private property? You own a house? You own a phone? You own a Trump 2020 pen? Then you're practicing capitalism. What you say you believe in is irrelevant. If you decided to own it and not share it collectively with your commune, i.e. communism, you're a fake. You're practicing capitalism while saying you hate it. So hard pass on you. We'll discard those idiots. But there's more. There's the labor-wage relationship. If you don't work in servitude towards a government which controls the means of production, and you work for an employer where you've agreed on a wage and they've agreed to pay you, well, if you do that and work for a wage outside of the control of government, then you're practicing capitalism. Again, what you say you like or dislike about capitalism means nothing to me, because you'd be a phony. If you're practicing it and you enjoy your job in a free market, you are practicing capitalism. I don't care what you say you'd like to practice. So we have private property, a labor-wage relationship, and third, we have a price mechanism rather than a rationing one. The third tenet, hallmark of capitalism. In communes, they ration. In communism, they ration and starve people to death in the hundreds of millions. Remember the Great Famine? That wasn't in the United States. That was in socialist countries. In a socialist country, to be specific. If you prefer a price mechanism where you can go out and buy things, and as the price rises, more suppliers come into market because they think they can make a profit, which then drives down the said price, i.e. flat screen TVs, which are now a fraction of what they were just 10 years ago, then again, you're practicing capitalism. If you like rationing, then yes, you are in fact a socialist and a moron. Their real goal, these BLM activists, is to eliminate that. Your ability to acquire private property to get a job and to not have your health care and other services and products rationed. You don't believe me? You go, oh, come on, Dan. Marxism, communism, they're really about Black Lives Matter. They are. Are you sure? Have you listened to the people who actually founded Black Lives Matter? Here's a great article in the Daily Caller. Be in the show notes with that post-millennial article about the guy locked up in Milwaukee. Go to the show notes, bongino.com/newsletter. Our newsletter are the show notes. Subscribe. We'll send these to you every day. Peter Hassan in the Daily Caller. Black Lives Matter co-founder Alicia Garza in 2015. Capitalism must be abolished for Black lives to matter. Wow, that's kind of strange, isn't it? I thought this was about Black Lives Matter. Mattering. You mean like Black lives owning private property, having jobs, and not having their health care rationed? You mean that kind of capitalism you don't like? What part about that do you not like, Alicia? I thought this was about Black Lives Matter. You mean like under the Trump administration, where levels of Black and minority poverty fell to record lows, Black unemployment fell to record lows, Black middle-class wealth expanded at a rate not seen in the Obama years? I thought that's what mattering Black Lives Matter lives that are Black, lives Black who matter of life. I thought that's what that was about. But it seems the co-founder of Black Lives Matter cares more about abolishing Black lives through the destruction of private property, your job, and a price system so that your products and services are rationed to you by a government that can't stand you. That doesn't sound much like caring about Black lives. I'm just throwing that out there, folks. Now, notice I put up the Daily Caller article by Peter Hassan about the co-founder, Alicia Garza, who apparently wants to destroy capitalism in the name of Black lives. Well, there's another co-founder. Surely she's the voice of reason, Joe, of course, right? It's like, listen, capitalism.
Boy.
Yeah, always.
Okay.
She's definitely the voice of reason. So here's the other co-founder. You can see where this is going because you've seen this already. Here's Patrisse Cullors, the other co-founder, definitely putting a lid on this stupid anti-free market, anti-capitalism stuff and saying, hey, this stuff is crazy. Marxism is awful. The way to improve Black lives is economic prosperity through freedom. Here's her correcting the record. Let's check that out.
I think that the criticism is helpful. I also think that it might, I think of a lot of things. The first thing I think is that we actually do have an ideological frame. Myself and Alicia in particular are trained organizers. We are trained Marxists. We are super versed on sort of ideological theories.
Oh, I'm so wrong cut, Paula, again. Paula keeps screwing up the show every day. I was asking for the cut where the co-founder, Patrisse Cullors, says economic prosperity for Black communities, education choice, low price, good quality products, jobs. That cut, Paula. Come on, stop messing with the darn show. You're screwing up my whole vibe here. Of course she's not. She's the brains behind the operation. That is the cut of the co-founder. But don't worry, folks. She cares about Black lives, the destruction of your job, your economic freedom, your ability to own your home, your phone, your TV, your car, all of that. You know what we call people who support these groups like Black Lives Matter that doesn't give a damn about Black lives? You know what we call them? Well, the answer is I don't call them anything. I'll reuse a term used for people who supported communism when they were the next one in the gulags. You know what that term is? Useful idiot. That's what you are. You're an idiot, and you're very useful to them because they know you won't do any of your homework about what the group Black Lives Supposed to Matter really stands for. They know you won't look it up because you don't watch this show if you're a radical leftist. This is why conservatives will always beat you in a debate because we actually do our homework. Black Lives Matter isn't about communism and Marxism. Really? Did you listen to the co-founders say they're about Marxism? Oh, no, I didn't hear that. Of course you didn't because you're a useful idiot. What's idiot in Spanish? Idiota? Is that right? Or am I just making that up? I am right. You're an idiot. I'm sorry. It's just true. You just don't know anything. All right, I got some more here about how this group has got a shocking connection to governments that would like to destroy the United States and government activists for communists. No way. Yep, it gets even worse. Not only is it Soros money and other money, but other people involved with foreign governments who hate us. Shocking. Before I get to that, let me get to my third sponsor today, our friends at My Patriot Supply. Listen, we're in a critical time right now, and it's time to be prepared. I think I've told you that many times. We insure everything in our lives that matter. You insure your health, you insure your car, you insure your house. How can you not insure your food supply? It makes absolutely no sense. You want to run into food shortages, power outages, grocery stores closed, and social unrest? No, of course you don't. You don't want to rely on the government either. You have enough food and supplies on hand to last at least 30 days? Here's the harsh reality. Many of you don't. You really should. Avoid panicked masses in a last-minute rush. Order a 4-week supply of emergency food today from our friends at mypatriotsupply.com. Starvation or dependency on the government, are your only options when you fail to plan ahead. Those sound like two really crappy options. Avoid the pain of being unprepared. Go to mypatriotsupply.com right now. Build your emergency food supply with meals that last up to 25 years in storage. That's a lot of insurance to buy there. Shipped discreetly to your front door. Folks that know what's coming are using today to prepare. Use your time to do the same. Go to mypatriotsupply.com, the original Patriot Preparedness Company, mypatriotsupply.com. Pick up your 4-week supply of emergency food today. Please don't wait. mypatriotsupply.com. All right. So, as I said, this is an insurgency. It's an insurrection happening in front of our eyes, a coming coup in the United States. Their words, ladies and gentlemen, they're preparing for street fights, not legal ones. Getting district attorneys out there to prosecute you if you fight back. It's all happening. The evidence is overwhelming. We've just provided it. It's an insurrection using useful idiots who don't know what groups like Black Lives Matter are really for. How do we know what they're for? Because they've told us what they're for. I just played the tape. Now, maybe another fact the useful idiots supporting Black Lives Matter should learn is that Black Lives Matter, it's got some relationship with some shady people overseas who really don't like us. Let's go to this Daily Signal article, the rare 3.5 screenshots from it. This is a good one. Again, in the show notes today, bongino.com/newsletter to access the show notes. This BLM co-founder and pro-communist China group are partnering up. Here's why, by Mike Gonzalez. They are another Joe, these two co-founders, they keep intersecting with these Marxist communists who, communists that love to wipe out and exterminate minority groups. That's not happening. Are you sure? Have you Googled Uyghur concentration camps? Of course you haven't. You're a leftist. You don't know anything about that. Knowledge isn't exactly your thing. So now we find one of these co-founders is partnering up with a pro-communist group? That's really weird. Let's go to the Daily Signal piece, screenshot 1. Wouldn't this be really crazy? Soros and these groups, all the communist groups and all these people. This is so strange. Imagine far-right demonstrators were laying siege to American cities for months, led by activists explicitly calling for an ethno-state, and that one of their groups was funded by an outfit involved with Vladimir Putin's Russia. That would be really bad, wouldn't it? Of course, as Mike says, it would be on the Mike Gonzalez. It would lead the news every day, and there would be congressional hearings. Of course there would. So imagine that. There's a group out there funded by billionaires, getting people in office to prosecute innocent Americans for defending themselves, with an association with anti-American foreign countries and communist groups, and calling for an ethno-state here in the United States. If that was the Tea Party, there would be public treason trials going, right now, televised daily. But of course, it's not the Tea Party because we actually believe in big art, God-given rights. But who is it? It's happening here. Let's go to screenshot number 2. Well, the scenario described above is happening, though not with Russia or the right, but with China and the leftist disturbances upending America and seeking to transform it. Yet there hasn't been a peep from the media or Congress about China's support of the riots. China's support? What? Oh, yeah. Oh, listen to this little gemski. Go to the website for Black Futures Lab, a venture of Black Lives Matter founder Alicia Garza, the same woman we just talked about who doesn't like capitalism, and then click on the donate button at their website. What happens then? It will ask you to send your money to an obscure organization, the Chinese Progressive Association, explaining that, quote, Black Futures Lab is a fiscally sponsored project of the Chinese Progressive Association? What the hell is that? Black Lives Matter, communist Alicia Garza running a group, Black Futures Lab, associated with the Chinese Progressive Association? What the hell could that be? Well, let's check out screenshot number 3 for the answer, guys. Let's not wait. The CPA, and we're not talking about certified public accountant, the Chinese Progressive Association was founded in San Francisco in 1972 during the heady days of the Marxist-oriented Asian American movement. And today it has a very active chapter in Boston. From its start, it's been a promoter of the People's Republic of China? No. It's a conspiracy theory. Okay. Really? They go on. According to an authoritative 2009 Stanford University paper tracing its early days to the present, and which can be found on Marxist.org, quote, the Chinese Progressive Association began as a leftist pro-People's Republic of China organization, promoting awareness of mainland China's revolutionary thought and workers' rights, and dedicated to self-determination, community control, and serving the people. Now you see why when good reps like Andy Biggs, congressman, conservative, start looking at who's financing all this stuff, the left freaks out. You can't look at that. That's anti-something. You're anti-Semitic. We're talking about an Asian group. You're anti-Asian. It's a China group. You're anti-China. They think it's going to scare you. So, I went to this and clicked on the donation. Mike Gonzalez does great work at Daily Signal. But again, doing honest reporting. I went and actually clicked on Black Futures Lab, a Black Lives Matter project with Alicia Garza, the co-founder of Black Lives Matter, who apparently hates capitalism. I thought this was about Black lives. Again, weird. So I actually clicked on it, and here's a screenshot from my phone. Not a joke. This is Black Futures Lab. This is on their website, their donation page. Are you ready to join us? Quote, Black Futures Lab is a fiscally sponsored project of the Chinese Progressive Association? Isn't that weird? Chinese Progressive Association traces its history back to support for the communist Chinese regime. I thought this was about Black lives. Crazy, Joe, how it keeps we're clearly just promoting conspiracy theories here. Conspiracy theories, like going to their own donation page and taking screenshots of it. Definitely a conspiracy theory. 100%.
Yeah.
I clearly manipulated my own phone. I'm not even, Paula, how tech savvy am I? Okay, I'm not. She's nodding her head, laughing because I'm not very good with the tech. I'm good with managing the tech. I clearly manipulated it on my phone. These people are financing an insurrection in the United States, a coup, a chaos regime. And useful idiots are just blindly right off the cliff, walking like lemmings. Idiotas. Useful idiotas. How do you say useful? Do you know? This is funny. She's perfectly fluent in Spanish. I do this to her all the time. And yet when you ask her a word, if she's not speaking it, she don't know it. It's the most amazing thing. Perfectly fluent. It's her native language, Paula. She talks to her, no problem. And yet when you put her on the spot and ask her a word, she never right? Never. It's the weirdest thing. She's not like book learned. She's perfectly fluent in Spanish. 1,000,000%. And whenever I put her on the spot and ask, even if I just tell her, say something, and she'll say the word useful in Spanish, no problem at all. Right? This happens all the time. But I'll ask her a word and she's like, she has to be talking to know. Love that. I always get her with that all the time. I shouldn't put her on the spot. All right, big news. The huge announcement coming up. Right after that, I got to take this quick break. We got our last sponsor. You're not going to want to miss this. And I'm bringing it. The heat is coming. YouTube has messed with us for the last time. Sorry, fellas. Gave you a chance. You blew it. Final sponsor of the day, Omaha Steaks. You know it's our favorite dinner in this house. I don't know what I like more. Their bacon, their steaks, their franks, their burgers. My mouth waters when I read this ad. Omaha Steaks are perfectly aged, 100% American grain-finished beef for the ultimate in tenderness, juiciness, and flavor. Every order is flash frozen, vacuum sealed, and safely delivered in a cooler with dry ice. Stays ready to cook in the freezer for months. I get deliveries down here in Florida at 100 degrees. Delicious. No problem. Fresh as the day is long. All backed by an unconditional 100% money-back guarantee. Get their gourmet grill-out package now, exclusive for my listeners. This incredible package includes this: bacon-wrapped filet mignon, top sirloin, boneless chicken breast, pork chops, burgers, jumbo franks, side dishes, and their ultra-delicious caramel apple tartlets and more. Go to omahasteaks.com, enter the code Bongino. They got great seasoning, too. Enter the code Bongino in the search bar, and for a limited time, Omaha Steaks will add 2 pounds of extra burgers and gourmet jumbo franks free with your order. Ugh. Omaha Steaks have been bringing people together for over 100 years. I'm making me hungry. Enjoy family, friends, and the best steak of your life. Go to omahasteaks.com, enter Bongino, Bongino in the search bar, and get this exclusive offer. It's not available anywhere else. Big savings. Order today, and Omaha Steaks will add 4 burgers and 4 gourmet jumbo franks free. Going to the grocery store has become a hassle? Skip it. Stay home, eat the best steaks of your life. Have the food shipped safely to your doorstep. The world's greatest steaks plus premium meats and easy meals. Stuff is delicious. Everything you need to ensure your family's stocked up for the long haul. All backed by a 100% money-back guarantee. Go to omahasteaks.com. Enter code Bongino in the search bar. Get this exclusive deal. Don't wait. All right. So, folks, you know I've been teasing this since yesterday that I've had an ongoing battle with Twitter, Fakebook, and ScrewTube. You know, they screw us over all the time. They demonetize. So just so you, if you want, many of you aren't familiar with how YouTube works. I won't be leaving the platform because I'm not going to cede any platform to any leftist. They're going to wind up kicking me off eventually anyway, so it doesn't matter. But I don't cede Twitter or YouTube, but I do think we should develop homes and alternatives for conservatives. I want your social media and video platform homes to be places where you can speak freely. Liberals too, by the way. I actually respect free speech, even for my ideological opponents. I always joke about how I'm a part owner in Parler, which is the only viable alternative to Twitter, which is now our hottest social media property out there. And the most parodied account on Parler is probably me. Dan Bongino's ears, you name a body part, there's a parody account. It's great. But folks, ScrewTube has been screwing over conservatives forever. What they do is they demonetize our videos. They don't give you a reason. They demonetize, meaning your videos, we spend a lot of time preparing content to put on their platform. We're a major provider. We are a top 20 podcast in the entire world. Our show. It's not a small show. We have tens of millions of people per month that watch this show. I don't say that to pat myself on the back. I say to pat you on the back. You're the ones listening, and we appreciate it. We are not a small provider for YouTube. And they screw us over all the time. They don't let us make any money on the videos. I'm tired of it. I'm not the only one. You ask any conservative content provider that puts their videos on YouTube, they are being screwed too. What's that? And they throttle our stats. Paul is right. You noticed yesterday, if you go to youtube.com/Bongino and you look at my account, you'll see that our Monday show did bonkers numbers. I don't know, about 160,000, maybe 180,000. I don't know. The next day, we woke up to what, 90,000? You're telling me I lost half my audience in a day? Of course we didn't. You just made sure people couldn't find it. Well, we're tired of it. I'm not a talker, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a doer, just like with Parler. And we blew that up fast. I've taken a financial interest, because I talk, and when I talk, I do. Because the do matters. The talk is cheap. If you don't follow up your speeches and talks, if you don't follow them up with action, it's worthless. I've taken a financial interest in a company called Rumble. Rumble. Rumble is a better YouTube. It's a free speech home for everyone. We're not going to throttle you. We're not going to demonetize you because we don't like your political ideas. I'd like you to go there today. It's rumble.com/Bongino. It's our account. And I'd like you to read this terrific article by the Washington Examiner that broke the story this morning. Exclusive. Fed up with YouTube crushing conservative voices, Dan Bongino acquires part ownership of a video sharing competitor, Rumble. It'll be in the show notes. Please spread the article around. I'd like you to go today, please. With humility and respect, and I mean that. Please go and subscribe today. Rumble.com/Bongino. On Monday, we are going to start loading our videos there in an exclusive time window. Be about a half an hour. They'll appeal there first. They'll appear on YouTube later. We're not going to get off YouTube because I'm not in any interest to do that. I'm going to fight in leftist platforms too because the ideas matter. But we will be posting to Rumble first. So if you'd like to see our videos when you're used to seeing them now, go to rumble.com, rumble.com/Bongino, and please subscribe to our page. It is better than YouTube because we will not censor you. Having said that, they have an app in the App Store, the Rumble app. I ask you to download the app as well. It's the Rumble with the green arrow. It's got like a green arrow, green triangle. It's at Rumble because there's a couple different Rumbles. It's easy to find. RUMBLE. Go to the App Store and download the app today. On Monday, again, we will be loading our videos there first in an exclusive time window because I'm sick and tired of YouTube. Having said that, another quick note, and I'll move on because I've got some other video here. I've got some other stories I've got to get to, including the worst segment ever by John Kerry. John Kerry, Joe, always ahead of the ball. Wait till you see this one. But this is good. I know Joe cheats. He gets to see it beforehand. I have a special guest I'll be interviewing tomorrow on my show. You could probably figure it out. That interview will be up. Sorry, Joe, I haven't told you this yet. I know I told you I'd call you after the show, but I'll just tell you right now. We will be loading that to Rumble first on Sunday night.
Okay.
If you want to watch it, Joe's like, okay, thanks. More work for the weekend. Sorry, buddy. I would have told you after the show. But my apologies. We usually have these little conversations beforehand, but we were so tied up today. So we will be loading that exclusively to Rumble on Sunday. If you want to watch it on YouTube, that's fine. You can watch it the next day. But folks, I'm not doing this to hurt anybody. I'm doing this because we have got to fight back. We have to. We have to put our skin in the game and do something. The Drudge Report abandoned us. I started BonginoReport.com. Twitter started screwing over conservatives and censoring the president. I got involved with Parler. YouTube's attacking us. I got involved with Rumble. We got to start fighting back. It's not good enough to talk about it anymore. I deeply appreciate your support in this endeavor. I couldn't do it without you. And I ask you again to please, before you get off the show today, go to rumble.com/Bongino and subscribe to that account today. And please, if you'd like to stay on YouTube and watch there, that's fine. I ask you to please watch the videos on Rumble instead. Stop giving them your money. Please. We're financing our own destruction. I'm not going to have it anymore. All right, moving on. That was big, folks. Getting a little emotional there. Stuff matters to me. So we had this big peace deal. And the left, of course, is like, it's not a peace deal. Israel wasn't at war with the UAE and Bahrain, despite the fact that all the players involved describe it as a peace deal. But don't let that get in the way, of course, of media stupidity, which we highlighted yesterday. So if you missed it, on Wednesday, President Trump was at the White House on the South Ground ceremony where Israel, the United Arab Emirates, and Bahrain signed a peace deal and a normalization of relations agreement. Huge, huge. The first Middle East peace deal we've had in decades, since 1994, the deal between Israel and Jordan. And prior to that, was it 78, Israel and Egypt. Huge, huge development. Now, you haven't heard about any of that, of course, because the media is not interested in covering it all. Matter of fact, I got some video coming up of Kayleigh McEnany at a press conference yesterday. How many questions do you think she got yesterday at the presser about this huge Middle East peace deal? 6, 7, Paula, what do you think? 10? Joe, 15?
Nah. Oh, at least, yeah.
At least, of course, Joe's. Joe knows, of course, the answer is a big donut, 0, because the media are moron losers who I have zero respect for. But showing you again evidence of the turkey problem. You know the turkey problem? Bertrand Russell's The Turkey Problem. You know all these turkeys, they live on a farm, and a year from their day of birth, they're going to be slaughtered for food. So on day 350, the farmer's they're playing in the dirt. The farmer's feeding them every day, fattening them up. The turkeys are emailing all their friends. Come to this farm, Farmer Jones Farm. It's great. They've been living here for a year. The guy feeds us. We play around all day. We don't have to worry about anything. All the turkeys come. They get there on day 365 and woo, off with their heads. They're all dead. The turkey problem, right? Look it up. It's a real thing. It's a problem about information exchange and how information, when it becomes orthodox and not challenged, like, hey, of course housing prices are going to continue to go up. Everybody buy mortgage-backed securities. That worked out really well in the housing crisis, didn't it? How information sometimes can become a problem in and of itself when you're isolated from reality. The turkeys were isolated from the reality of it. They would have spoken to other turkeys who were dead, who came back as turkey ghosts. They would have been warned that, guys, this isn't the great situation you think it is. In about 10 days from day 355, off with your heads. They'd be like, they'd be warning the other turkeys rather than telling the other turkeys to come over there. You see this in the foreign policy establishment too. Mortgage-backed securities, they're great. Property never goes down. Where an idea becomes so entrenched and orthodox that any challenge to it is considered heresy. Therefore, any challenge to it becomes laughed at and mocked, and it's kept outside the circle of polite conversation, Joe. And therefore, nobody ever thinks outside the box. And then you get the bull in the china shop like President Trump who says, so let me be straight on this. You guys are telling me that we can't do a peace deal in the Middle East unless we fix the Palestinian problem first? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's right. Don't even suggest otherwise, or we'll tell you you're an idiot. It's impossible to get a peace deal with Bahrain and the UAE without handling the Palestinian problem first. You know, like the peace deal that just happened. Let's listen to this genius, John Kerry. And I want you to notice on the kind of step and repeat thing in the background, the little backdrop. On the backdrop is Brookings. So he's giving a speech at the Brookings Institution. You know, the same foreign policy establishment where Christopher Steele's source was alleged to have worked? Crazy how that happens. Remember, they know everything. They're the turkeys on the farm. And if you, God forbid, suggest, hey, guys, you got 10 days until your heads come off, they're like, what an idiot. We're eating like kings over here. Shut your mouth. Farmer Jones is our buddy. Here's the turkey problem summed up in one cutesy little John Kerry soundbite, telling basically everyone who thinks you can get a peace deal without the Palestinians, you're morons, despite the fact that we just got one. Check this out.
There will be no separate peace between Israel and the Arab world. I want to make that very clear to all of you. I've heard several prominent politicians in Israel sometimes saying, well, the Arab world's in a different place now. We just have to reach out to them and we can work some things with the Arab world and we'll deal with the Palestinians. No, 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 and no. I can tell you that, reaffirmed even in the last week as I have talked to leaders of the Arab community. There will be no advance and separate peace with the Arab world without the Palestinian process and Palestinian peace. Everybody needs to understand that. That is a hard reality.
Was that a turkey, Motley?
Yeah, it was a turkey Motley. Yes.
A mutki?
That's one way to look at it.
I did not, again, they're all renegade on. I can't control anyone anymore. Ever since the success, everybody just does their own thing. Paula throws in random diagrams and pictures. Joe invents his own.
Oh, dude.
Okay, hold on. Gotta get my eye. There it is, John Kerry, foreign policy genius, who was for the Iraq war before he was against it, at Brookings Institute, the same white paper. Remember white papers? The same white paper organization that told us the PP tape was real, right? Actually told us, I should take that back. The source told the PP tape was fake, and then everybody else told us the PP tape was real. So there you go, folks. John Kerry. There will be no peace deal. Mr. Potato Head, John Kerry, genius. Thank God this guy didn't win the presidency. And yes, Trump's the moron. You're right. You guys are all geniuses. Gosh, did an hour go by already? I know. Joe, you know why I feel bad? Paul and Joe worked super hard. We're going to do this segment. We'll have to do it tomorrow.
Oh.
So But we want to get to Kaylee. Can we do the Kaylee video at least? And we'll play it again tomorrow. I have this media segment. I keep saying I'm going to cover it, of them covering up. It's really good. I promise I'll get to it tomorrow. It's just someone told me not to talk about George Soros. So, of course, I had to talk about George Soros because that's just what I do. Here's Kaylee McEnany, who I just adore, at the White House press conference yesterday after she takes 0 questions on the biggest peace deal we've signed since 1994 in the Middle East. 0 questions. They're more worried about, Trump wearing a mask or something. So here's Kaylee doing what she does best and just absolutely dropping the hammer in one of her now almost patented mic drop moments. Check this out.
Is Michael Caputo welcome back after his 60-day leave after urging his followers on Facebook to stock up on ammunition?
I'm not going to weigh into any personnel matters. As you know, he has taken a leave of absence that was announced just before I came out here. But what I will weigh into is the Middle East peace deal signed yesterday that I did not receive a single question about. That was the first time it's happened in a quarter of a century. If Obama and Biden had achieved this, they would look a lot different. You wouldn't have Chuck Todd saying he's uncomfortable with the deal that brings peace between the United Arab Emirates and Israel and Bahrain. You wouldn't have CBS calling it, quote, a business deal. And you wouldn't have Nancy Pelosi calling it a distraction. Maybe it's a distraction from her visits to the hair salon, but those were significant agreements. First time in a quarter of a century, 3 peace deals in 29 days. Took 26 years for the prior 2 peace deals. So this, the Nobel Peace Prize nomination for the president, 2 of them, very well deserved. Thank you.
Kaylee, if he's a law and order president, why does he keep breaking the law?
There it is. There's Kaylee. Again, mic drop moment on the way out. Just beautifully done, of course. Maybe Nancy was too distracted with her hair salon visits. I don't know. She missed the Middle East peace deal thing, Media's a joke. They're an embarrassment. They're a disgrace to humanity, folks. There's some good ones left. Very few. You hold a White House press conference and you don't ask the press secretary one question about the biggest peace deal in the Middle East since 1994. Tell us again how you're all serious journalists. Tomorrow we'll definitely get to it. I'm going to show you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 videos showing you what they're covering for Biden, what they're covering up, I should say. And I want to contrast the questions President Trump gets versus the questions Joe Biden gets, which are hilariously stupid. Mr. Biden, you are the Messiah. We all know that. The world knows that, Mr. Biden. Can you please explain to us why you are the Messiah and President Trump is in fact tattooed with 666 on his head and is Damien the Antichrist? Please, Mr. Biden, go right ahead. These are the kinds of questions. Watch when I show you tomorrow some of the idiocy coming out of the mouths of these journalists. Ignore these losers. They are total losers. Come to this show for the real truth. All right, folks, thanks again for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I know it was a lot of material today. I got some John Solomon stuff tomorrow, too, on Spygate, so don't miss it. Again, I'm going to ask you to go, please, to Rumble, RUMBLE, rumble.com/Bongino. Go today for our video content. Subscribe today. It'll be there on Monday. Sunday night, we will have an exclusive with a special guest. We'd ask you to subscribe. You can still watch the videos, of course, on YouTube if you prefer. Again, I'm a capitalist. I'm just creating competition. YouTube won't like it. Too bad. So sad. Also, subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, and it's always available at Bongino.com. We really appreciate it. Please spread the word about Rumble. We need your help here. Let's fight back against these tech tyrants. I'll see you all tomorrow.
You just heard Dan Bongino.